Welcome, my friends. Welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford, and today is the official relaunch. I guess we might call it a soft relaunch of Trucking Business and Beyond. So this hour, we're going to maintain our time slot, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. The show originally is going to be scheduled for an hour. It's going to be pure Q&A, free for all, any topic, anything goes. I will probably not do much of an open, if any open at all. If we have calls and questions, we'll go right to the calls. So we're kind of getting away from the problem of some people don't like my commentary. They just want to hear calls and questions. Some people do like my commentaries and opens. So we'll separate them. The beauty of our new network is you're going to be able to pick and choose what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear. That's always been a struggle on this show. I've talked about it before. No matter how much feedback I get, it's still, who do you listen to? 30% of the people don't want to hear this topic. 70% of the people don't want to hear this, but the other 30% really want to hear it. And, with just a 3-hour show every day, not really being able to separate that out as much as we wanted to. Our new model and our new network will allow us to really customize the content we create and allow you to pick and choose what you want to listen to and what you don't want to listen to. So I may occasionally do some opens. I may cover some topics and commentary, but for the most part, this show every day. And the other thing, it's scheduled for an hour. The beauty of this format, we don't have to stick to a clock. If I jump on and we have so many questions and things are going well, we might stay. Yesterday on the Power Hour, I think we went well over an hour and a half. So it'll just be flexible, but we're going to stick with the starting time. So you always know when we're going to be live, and then we'll play it by ear. I do need to check here real quick. With Aaron and Lisa, just to make sure everything is sounding good. Okay, Lisa already responded. Thank you. Sounds like it. Aaron, Lisa, do we also have good sound on the live stream itself? Okay, sounds like it. Wow. I got to tell you, I was scrambling again this morning. I worked on this stuff all day yesterday, but sometimes working on it makes it worse. Because I was experimenting and trying things, and then I wasn't able to get back to my setup this morning, and I had a little moment of panic. But I think we got it. So we are live. Calls are starting to come in. The phone lines are open. I do want to let you know, don't call into the phone number just to sit and listen. We're not doing that. I know we did that on one show last week. That is not going to work for us. So if you do call to sit and listen, we're going to end up dropping your call. The phone number is just like the live show used to be. You only call the phone number to ask a question, to be on the air and ask a question, and you'll listen to the live stream. And the live stream's going to get better. Right now, we are just really kind of hacking together bits and pieces to get us on the air. We're back on the air a week, not bad, and we've been testing shows all week. But just know that we are building our entire infrastructure from the ground up, and our goal is to be very, very independent this time. We're choosing our technologies carefully. We're making sure there's a backup to each technology, just so we're not canceled again by some sort of technology platform. We're trying to learn from past experiences. So we're staying away from any kind of big name platforms. We're really trying to use some independent software in the background and really doing a lot of our own custom programming this time. So the one thing I can tell you is just understand that this situation is dynamic, it's fluid, things are going to change. We'll try to keep the changes and the confusion to a minimum. But we just know if we suffer through a little bit of short-term pain now, testing different options, we can come up with the very best option going forward for the long term. Make it easy, good quality, all the feedback we've had over the years. Can you improve this? Can you improve that? Many times on Sirius we weren't able to. We didn't control enough of the process. So now we can. We have total control. We do listen to feedback, and we will continue to try to make things better. So with that said, I don't have any kind of an open. Just to go back to that topic. So a lot of people say, well, we want your commentary. We want politics. We want to hear your opinion on current events. So that will be another show. I'm not sure whether it's going to be scheduled right now or whether it will be just kind of an on-the-fly thing for me. I do have a show I want to bring back called The Pit, which is just pure politics in trucking, and that's going to be a wide-open format. I will probably do commentary on there, and we'll play around. Maybe we'll open it up for calls. One of the problems with the Pit the last time I tried it was that I would start with my commentary, and then when we opened it up for calls, everybody agreed with me. And it got kind of boring and repetitive with the calls, and I don't really know that I want to argue or debate a lot of politics, so it may just become kind of a commentary. We'll see. I'm going to play around with that. I may also do just a daily recording. I shouldn't say daily because I may not get to it every day. But I used to wake up, get all my show notes together, figure out what I wanted to open with. I will probably still continue doing that, and maybe I'll just, when I'm all done with my notes, maybe I'll just, do a recorded open, and you can subscribe to that as well. So that's some of the thoughts we have right now. I might as well give you the latest. All of this stuff is happening fast. John and Joel Morrow and John Walco from Fuel Mileage Friday, we decided to kind of expand that show. John and Joel are going to be able to do episodes on their own. I will continue to join them at times as well because it's one of my favorite segments. It has a new name. It now will be Trucking Technology and Efficiency. And that's an awesome name, I think, because we're going to cover a lot of stuff, not just directly related to fuel mileage. That'll be the big focus. But all three of us really love technology and kind of speculating on what's new. And so we kind of open up the idea of that show. And we will be launching that tomorrow, first time. And then we'll see about schedules. All of that's still up in the air, but we want to make sure we get right back into this. All right. Phone lines are open. We have a call or two. I'm going to get to them now, but certainly we have some room for questions, comments, or topics, anything at all. If you just want to jump in and talk, I'd love to hear it. Let's do that right now. Let's go to Indiana. Jeff, are you with me?
Yeah. Yes. Sounding good.
Hey, let me make sure I put this out because maybe people don't know this. Questions. Here's the phone number, 855-950-3835. That's the number to call in with a question. So if you're listening on the live stream and you want to jump in, don't call that to listen. You're listening on the live stream. Stay there. But if you want to ask a question, make a comment, talk about whatever you want to talk about, dial us up at 855-950-3835. All right, Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, everything's sounding good. The health question. I've been doing keto down about 18 months now. I got down to about 145 where I was happy. In the beginning of the year, I started the Wim Hof and the X3, and it seems now I'm up to 150. and I haven't changed my eating habits. And I know that the Wim Hof and the X3, it puts the stress on, and I'm working my heart and all that stuff that I haven't done since high school. Is that cause for the weight gain, or is it just stress, or is it just a thing that happens?
So there's several possibilities here, and it's probably a little bit of all of them. Do you happen to have the Garmin watch?
No, I
Okay.
was gonna get that when you said that when all this shit happened that
Yeah.
you were gonna get your X3 stuff on there at the update in March or something.
Yeah, we actually have a call with them today, so we should have an update on some of that stuff after today. And the reason I mention that is because the Garmin watch is really the only device that really helps us track that stress. So we would be able to kind of look and see, did this cause your stress levels to go up? And if that's the case, then that could be a little bit of the weight gain. Remember this, though. The X3 bar is going to put on muscle. Muscle's heavy. It's more dense than fat. It's heavier than fat. So you can have somebody who weighs a lot more than you think they weigh if they're really heavily muscled. They'll look trim, ripped, and they can be pretty heavy and solid. So that's a good thing. That's what we want. If we're going to gain weight, we want it to be muscle weight. So that's part of it. The other part of it, when you start becoming more active, the breathing increases metabolism, the X3 is more active, you can gain weight because you might be eating more. I mean, if you weren't measuring your food before, and I hope you weren't, you increase consumption without even realizing it. This is why we've said for a long time, exercise is good for a lot of things, but losing weight isn't one of them. Because you get this increased appetite, which is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's really makes it difficult to increase activity to lose weight because you have to kind of be hungry all the time. And we tell people don't do that. If you're hungry, eat. 5 pounds, no big deal. I think it might be a little bit of all three of those things. And the other thing you could do, I've tested a couple of these, and these scales aren't completely accurate, but it's one of those things that it's at least a gauge, and we can kind of see how our body composition is changing. There's a lot of scales on the market now that can measure body fat and certain other things.
Oh, okay.
Again, they're not super accurate, but I can see a pattern in mine that I am gaining muscle weight and my body fat is staying consistent.
Well, I have noticed. I mean, I'm wearing the same clothes I was before I lost the weight, and everything is looser. My watch slips down my arm, and it seems that it to me, not knowing much about this, counterintuitive that I've gained the weight, but I'm thinner. But I guess with the X3, I'm just getting in shape.
That's actually a really good sign. And normally, so how long have you been using the X3 bar?
Let's see, where are we? Just finished 2 months. So beginning of January, it came in from you when you first got it with the infrared blanket. So
okay.
First week of January. And
now the hard question: how strict have you been?
I do push pull rest, push pull Saturday Sunday rest. I haven't gotten into the 5 week where it was 6 times. I felt on that extra day I was just tired and I wanted the rest.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. So here's the thing: you're seeing exactly what we want to see. Your weight went up, but your body measurements went down. Clothes feel loose. You noticed it in your watch. And that's the explanation. Muscle is much more dense and heavy than fat. So you end up getting thinner but heavier, which is an awesome thing. And I can tell you this, under the old way I used to train people when I had the gym, I've been doing resistance training for a long, long time. I would never expect a measurable difference in this short of period of time. We just never saw it. And with this X3 bar, I'm actually blown away by how fast people are getting results.
Okay. Yeah, I've moved up to the third band on the chest press and triceps. You know, I started,
Excellent.
I didn't know. I started with the white band on everything and then increased. The only white band I'm using is that damn overhead press.
But I know. Me too.
But right, and the curls.
Yeah,
that's the only one I'm using
curls.
the white one for.
Yeah, sometimes I can go up to the second band and still get a good curl workout. But on my overhead press, I'm still on the lowest, the white band, and it still hurts like hell. I mean, when I get to 15, my shoulders are just screaming, and I'm in pain, and it's incredible. So here's another thing that I've found that's been working really well for me. I don't necessarily schedule it, but I kind of keep it in the back of my mind. And normally what I'll do, you know, some of those days when you don't really feel like working out, you don't have quite the energy or the motivation, and you think, maybe I'll just skip it. But you kind of force yourself to do it. When I have a day like that, I actually go back to the white band for everything. And I just focus on really slow, really strict movement and trying to really feel the muscle that I'm working to make sure that I'm really isolating that muscle. And since I don't have a lot of energy and, you know, I don't really feel like doing it, it seems easier. And I think it's really good to kind of, you know, really get your form down tight.
Okay, that's But no, every morning I get up, I do the breathing, and then I do my push-ups, which I've never done since graduating high school. I think I've done 3 push-ups, and I'm doing 60 a day while holding my breath. So,
wow.
To me, to me that's pretty damn good. While I'm,
it is. That's impressive.
I'm exhausted, and then I catch my breath, and then I do the X3, and then I get in the shower, cold shower, and then go plank for 3 minutes. 3 minutes and 15 seconds I'm up to. Nice. Yeah, so never, like I said, haven't not worked out since graduating high school, which will be 40 years come June. So thanks again for at least showing me this and getting me this and me making that plunge into doing so, because I never wanted to go to the gym because you had to drive and you had to go, and I didn't know how to use the thing, so I just never did. I agree. And, you know, the other thing for me, I was just stuck in that mode of, my God, if you don't work out for at least an hour, why bother? And now I'm still amazed at the results I'm getting from 10 minutes. And I am not nearly as committed or strict as you are. I'm lucky if I'm really averaging 2 workouts a week these days, and I got to fight to get that. I can't wait till I can get back to, 5 or maybe even 6 days sometimes with this, because it doesn't take much time. It's easy. So I brought it with me. I've got it here on the road, but I haven't done a workout yet since I've been on the road. So now I'm a week behind completely. But I'll get back into it, and the good news is the results come quick. Yeah. So, I'm real happy with it. Never being a weightlifter or worker out or muscle or anything, I am noticing, and it does burn. So I know that that's right. When I'm done, my legs are shaking and my biceps are shaking, and when I get to that point, I can't do it anymore. It's like, okay, I got that quad burn that from the squats that I did what I had to do or what I was supposed to do, and it's working. Excellent. So, to go back to your original question, the weight gain is exactly what we hope to see. Okay. Because I was getting frustrated. I said, maybe I should, I thought, maybe if I wouldn't have done all this stuff to improve it, but it's just a number, but I'm feeling fantastic, and the clothes fit better, and it just looks better even though it's 5 more pounds. No, that's exactly right. So throw away the scale and use your mirror instead. Yeah, it's just that mental if it was 149.9, I'd be okay. It's at 150.0 that has my mental thing that I wanted to stay under.
I mean, the numbers I can relate to them because they're almost identical. The first time I went on keto, I actually bottomed out at 139, and I looked emaciated. I started at 185 and bottomed out at 139, and I looked emaciated. I was wearing 29 jeans, and none of my clothes fit anymore. They were all baggy, and I thought, I really don't like it here. So I just kind of adjusted my eating a little bit, upped my carb count, and I kind of came back to 150, settled in there for a long time. The last long road trip I did, I ended up gaining another 10 pounds, went all the way back up to 160, and that was bad. I did not like that at all. And then when I got back and really refocused, my weight stays right around that 150 mark. Except as I start to work out and get more committed to it, it will start to climb. But that's what we want.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm just going to have to realize that number was 145 was what it was, and 150 is now my new mark because
There you go.
I've toned up. So, again, thank you for everything, being at least a 400 carb a day person without ever thinking about it, and joint pain where I could barely get up and move, just listening to you and taking your advice and getting my dead ass off the couch and doing something about it. I just feel so damn good that
Excellent.
Everybody listening, just do it.
Just
take
do
a
it.
Damn cold shower and quit eating the garbage.
Excellent. Love it. Jeff, we'll talk to you again soon. We're going to move on. If you want to jump in and join us, we do have some open phone lines. The number to join us, 855-950-3835. That is for call-in questions only. We're going to get to the calls. Let's talk to Paul in South Carolina. Paul, welcome.
Howdy.
What's on your mind today?
What number do you... Oh, lots of things now. So what number do you dial if you only want to listen?
There is no number to listen anymore. You got to listen on the live stream.
Oh, okay. I'll have to become a tribe member so I know this stuff. So
that's right.
I just thought, yeah.
Hey,
so
Paul.
how do I become a tribe member?
Well, I was just going to say, you are absolutely a tribe member. You just haven't made it official yet.
That's right. I'm a procrastinator. I haven't
That's
made
right.
time for that yet either.
That's right. You're a rogue tribe member.
Yeah. I'll be after listening to that guy. Like, I've always been fairly small. I'm a little bit bigger than you, but not a lot. I'm 57 years old. I've been in this country for 22 years, and I still wear shirts, and I've been trucking since I was 18. I still wear shirts that I bought with me 22 years ago. They're really good quality.
I was just going to say, what kind of laundry detergent do you use? That's pretty amazing that they're still around.
Yeah, well, they were a lot of the shirts. They came from Bangladesh. Well, I guess those people know how to spin cotton or fabric or something. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but
well, that's awesome.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad we can still
so
listen in or talk
Paul,
to you.
Tell me this. Growing up, because you're basically my age, pretty close.
Yep.
Growing up, now that you kind of see what our diet is here, what was your diet like growing up there? Do you think it was quite a bit better than what we had here?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I thought so.
It was meat and vegetables. There wasn't a meal that we sat down to. There was always meat, whether it was a roast lamb or a hamburger or steak. Occasionally, not a whole lot, but you'd sit down and on your plate would be meat, potatoes, beans, carrots, cabbage,
Real food.
We didn't do a lot of, yeah, but
Yeah, just
it
food.
but because my parents, the first time they came over here, my mother, she says, how come you only get you get two vegetables? I said, that's how they do it over here. And my father was annoyed. He said, oh, I suppose it's the choice between corn and bloody broccoli. That's what he'd say. Because he didn't like corn and he didn't like broccoli. So
Right.
I remember going to a restaurant with him one night, and he said, oh, he wanted it was a steak restaurant, and he said they'd have steak, and the waitress said, oh, what side do you want? And he says, oh, give me mashed potatoes. Oh, okay. Well, you get two sides. What else you got? Oh, I got corn and broccoli, and he says, oh, and French fries and mashed potato. And he says, well, bring me French fries. Oh, so you don't want the mashed potato? Yeah, bring me French fries and mashed potatoes with the steak. And she's like, what? He said, French fries, mashed potato, and the steak. And I said, he liked his meat well done. Like, if it wasn't burnt, it wasn't cooked, as far as he was concerned.
Yikes.
So, but my mother, she said, oh, imagine what your cholesterol's like. Well, I guess it was pretty good because he lived to be 85 and a half. So.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I think I have an advantage over a lot of Americans, even though I grew up during that same time frame, because my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and, you know, she didn't cook anything fancy, but everything was from scratch. We didn't eat a lot of processed food. So meals for me is kind of the same thing. There was always meat. I mean, we never had a meal that didn't have meat. Usually that was the biggest part of the meal. And then, you know, there would be things like pasta and rice and potatoes, but not a lot of bread, and, you know, so it really was kind of meat and vegetables, and usually there was a starch, but that was kind of how we ate every meal. You know, we just didn't have a lot of processed food in the house, and I think that was, you know, one of the things that helped me, that even though I was unhealthy, I wasn't as bad as I could have been. I didn't end up with a lot of metabolic.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't gain a lot of weight. And, you know, I say I didn't gain a lot, but, you know, 185 was pretty damn heavy for me. So I think that helps. And I think there were other countries, New Zealand, and that were slightly behind us in this. I think they've all caught up now. There's plenty
of obese people in New Zealand now. So
yeah, you can see it in the statistics. Most of those countries have all caught up, and anybody eating their standard diets in any country right now are usually fat and sick.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like when I'm at home and my wife will say, what do you want for dinner? And I say, oh, we could do steak or chicken or pork chops or whatever. Or what do you want with it? And I'll say, oh, and she say, oh, potatoes. And say, yeah, I'm sort of trying to cut down a little bit on the potatoes, but I'll say, oh, vegetables. We could have broccoli or beans. And she'll say, broccoli and beans don't go with that. Well, why not? It's a vegetable. I said, it goes with it as far as I'm concerned. Like we had some chicken wings, and she says, what do you want with it? And I says, oh, broccoli and fried eggs would be good. What? I said, broccoli and fried eggs. And she says, that doesn't go with fried chicken. Be all right to me. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. So what else is on your mind today? We've got, I gotta make a comment about this, because a lot of the longtime tribe members know, Lisa was the call screener on the show for years and years and years, till we got the new contract, and then part of the whole thing was Sirius wanted more control over that part of it, so they assigned me producers and call screeners, and we used to do that ourselves. And, you know, I really liked that, although I do remember things like this. So here's what was typed in, since you wanted to talk about how long your shirts last. Here's the note I get now from my call screener. Don't compare yourself. Your shirts are disposable after one use. That's like a joke around here. I put on a shirt, and within 3 hours, I'm going to stain it. It happens every time.
Well, just because it's got a stain on it doesn't mean it's wore out.
That's kind of what I say, but Lisa doesn't like when I walk around with stains all over my shirt. So, I have shirts that last a long time too, except they're all stained. So that's kind of the joke around here. And now I have to put up with those kind of comments from my call screener again.
Now, if I can just get a pair of jean shorts that will last long, so I guess I work too hard, but when I wear holes in them, I should take them back and I say, I don't like these fashion jeans. Can I get some ones without the holes in them? They probably give me my money back.
Maybe.
Yeah, so. Right, I'm getting ready to unload here, so I'll
All right.
see you later. Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
Unloading for you is a big deal too, so we'll let you go. Those cars don't unload themselves. Let's go to what do I got going on here? Let's see. We're gonna go to Georgia this time. Richard, your turn. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Kevin, man, it is so good to hear you on the radio again.
Well, thank you.
I got a couple of things, a couple of suggestions, and about the show and some on health. But first off, I can't remember what my subscription cost was for Sirius XM, and I know you didn't tell anybody to cancel their subscription, but since they canceled the main show that I listened to, I called them yesterday and canceled my subscription, and I'm willing to make Chris even more mad to give you my subscription that Sirius XM was charging me to help better your show. So I don't see why you could just those of us that canceled our subscription with Sirius XM, maybe we can pay that forward back to you since you helped us out a lot.
Yeah, and we certainly appreciate that thought. We've heard that from a lot of people. And here's just kind of big picture. A lot of this going forward is going to change. We're still working through a lot of it. We are going to have some sort of subscription, maybe even multiple levels. We do need to monetize this new network. For right now,
right.
The best way, there's two things everybody can do to support us right now while we're working through all of this, and we'll come up with a new model that I think people are really going to like. There's going to be a lot of value in it. For right now, support us in the store and our subscriptions and our paid sites. And obviously everybody listening now is already doing that because we're only broadcasting these shows to the two tribes, by the way, Healthy Tribe and Trusted Tribe. So because we know we're going to be a little annoying and things aren't going to work perfect. So we know if anybody's going to put up with us for while we work through this, it's the tribe. So thank you guys for that. Support us through subscriptions in our store, and that will be fine.
Sure
right
do.
Now. We're okay. We did lose a ton of revenue overnight, but that's all right. We know how to fix that.
Yep.
So support us in the store, subscriptions, and when we roll out our new options, I think you're going to find that there's going to be a lot of value there.
Yep, and I do have subscriptions with you, so I'm supporting you on that as well. Another thing I wanted to comment on is I was watching your another thing about the show. I love it with no commercials. But I was watching your video that you got about the X3 bar, and I guess I'm in the same predicament as you are as being short-armed, because you mentioned about whenever you're doing the presses that, and I noticed that because whenever you contract the band back to you, it gets kind of slack, so you can't come all the way back, so your arm is almost like extended. And I found a way to get away from that with the presses and the deadlifts. And that's whenever you fold the band around that little hook, instead of hooking it on that hook, just hook it directly onto the bar. And that does give you enough room so that whenever you come back, your elbows, your I guess it'd be your forearms, is almost level with your shoulder, so that gives you a little bit more tension that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
My solution was more complicated. I like yours. I actually take, how you double the band.
Velcro, I heard you talk about Velcro in it.
Yeah, I would take a strap of Velcro and double it up, and then I would actually pinch off part of the band and wrap another Velcro strap around that to kind of
wow.
shorten it up. And it works, but it's kind of complicated, and I'm always messing with the straps. And one day I was doing it, and I must not have put it on right, and I was using the fourth band for chest presses. And that thing has a lot of tension, and as I was pushing out, my Velcro popped off and my arm slammed out straight, and I thought I busted both of my elbows. It hurt so bad. But the pain went away in about a minute, so it was kind of a weird thing, and then it didn't hurt at all. So I'm going to try your method.
Wow.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Work smarter, not harder, Kevin.
That's exactly right. Good point.
One last thing. I fell off my load. I pulled a flatbed, and I fell off my load in between a load one time, and then I fell off the side of my trailer, hit the side of my trailer with my tailbone. Luckily, all 3 times I didn't damage my tailbone at all. So I've been going to the and this was like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I've been to the chiropractor, I've been X-rayed several times, and there's no damage to my bones, and there's no damage to my vertebrae, so I don't have any bulging disc or anything else like that. But I would go to the chiropractor, and I would still hurt. And so I asked one of the chiropractors one time, I asked him, I seen the X-ray, and he said, well, everything's fine. I said, well, do you think that this just might be a muscle issue, that I could just work it out and do that? He said, yeah, that's a possibility. So I started doing that, and it got better, but then about 6 months ago, it got really bad, and I was in some chronic pain. So I went to this chiropractor, and he made it even worse. So I just quit going to him, and I was listening to a YouTube video where it wasn't Wim Hof, but it was somebody else, one of the other doctors, but they was talking about cold. It may have been Wim Hof, talking about cold therapy heals the body.
Absolutely.
So I didn't do this because I had to, I wanted to. I did this because I had to, because we moved out of our house and we're living in a camper now, and the place where we're going, the camper that we got, the hot water heater don't work. So this whole winter I had to take nothing but cold showers.
Whoa.
And my back is feeling amazing. And
that's awesome.
I can stay in the shower for up to 15 minutes now, nothing but purely cold water.
Wow. Yeah, if you watch a lot of sports teams now, you see in all their training rooms, they have the ice plunge baths.
Oh, yeah.
They use it a lot. It really is excellent. So, here's the thing. When we talk about pain and inflammation, pain is inflammation. Now,
right.
When we're eating the standard American diet, we all know this. We experienced it. Your pain almost never goes away. It feels like you're always dealing with, sore joints, and you wake up stiff and you don't feel good. And then when we clean up our diet, that tends to go away. We don't have that daily kind of pain. But pain is a good thing.
Right.
That's how our body repairs itself, with inflammation. So when you do damage, that pain is telling you that your body is still trying to repair that damage. And if it goes on long, then obviously your body needs some help. And the cold therapy is a big help in that. So it sounds like you experienced exactly what we expected. Along with the cold therapy, your body started to heal that inflammation, and then the pain goes away.
Yep. And I told my wife, and she's in agreement with it too. And I told her we're planning on moving to Missouri, and I told her that when we get to Missouri and get our place, whenever I get to our place, I'm probably just not going to have hot water to the shower. We're just going to continue to take cold showers, since we're almost a year with nothing but cold water now, so our bodies are just about to get used to it.
Wow.
She's okay. She's okay with that, so I'm loving it, man. That cold shower is good.
There you go.
But yeah, try that workout on that band. Just hook it directly to the bar, not the hook, and that'll give you a lot more tension on it.
Will do. Sounds awesome. All right. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. Let's grab another call. Let's go this time to South Dakota. Shauna, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
What's on your mind
Got
today?
a question on, well, I don't drive. I own a couple trucks leased onto another carrier. And my new 2022, it's got a DD15 engine. And Detroit came back with a park brake idle speed increase. So these trucks used to idle at 550 RPMs that would have 50 pounds of oil pressure. They kicked it up to 880 RPMs. The oil pressure stays the same, and they're telling me it's to increase lubrication to the valve train to prevent adjustment screw wear during extended periods of idle. And I'm just concerned. I don't understand why Detroit would kick these up so high when all it's going to do is use more fuel. And, of course, you never want to idle, but when I've got trucks where it's 20 below zero, they don't have a choice.
Yeah, and this has always been the struggle I've had with idling, period, and I've gone back and forth on this. So, for example, let's forget your specific situation right now and just talk in general. We were always told if you're going to idle for long periods of time, you should bump up the idle. Now, they used to allow us to do that on our own. You could either leave it at low idle or you could hit the button and bump up to higher idle. And their claim was that at the low idle, you're not generating enough heat, so you're going to build up more acid. It's not good for the emissions. So they wanted you to idle at a higher idle. But you're right. Of course, that's going to burn more fuel. So there's always that struggle. And I was actually saying for a while, look, I have gone through thousands of oil samples, and I did a little survey. I asked people who I was tracking their oil samples, do you idle at high idle or low idle? And I had a pretty good mix of both. And I couldn't find any real differences in the oil samples. We weren't seeing the base drop quickly, so I kind of ruled out that was necessary to bump up your idle. The one question mark, though, is emissions add a new layer to that. And I can't tell in an oil sample if we're doing harm to the emissions by idling at a lower speed. So I'm kind of torn. I mean, I wish we didn't have to idle. When we do, I would recommend go ahead and bumping it up. There's no maintenance downside to bumping up the idle. It's just it is a fuel cost thing. I get that. So
it's a grumpy driver cost thing.
Yeah, I know. My approach is
because the truck is so loud and yeah.
Oh yeah, that too. That's an issue. My approach is let's try to find other solutions to idling and minimize our idling. Do it if we really have to. But if we are going to idle, and now let's come back to your specific situation. I'm thinking that non-emission trucks, if you want to idle at a low idle, go ahead. It's probably not going to hurt anything. Emission trucks, I think we're better off bumping it up to a high idle, especially when it's cold outside, and that's probably why we're idling. In your case, though, the OEM has identified a very specific maintenance issue. They're making it sound like at low idle, that engine is not getting enough lubrication up top. That's a big
Well, they told me that, the Freightliner told me that there's a new, in these 2022 Detroit, there's a new electronic check valve, per se, so the oil doesn't get to the top part of the engine. It just drains down into the pan when it's at a low idle.
That's bad. So in your case,
why would they do that?
Well, I don't think they did it intentionally. I think that sometimes designs and, things don't always work in the real world the way they do on an engineering board. So it sounds to me like that this wasn't a good design. They've identified that now, and this is their short-term fix. And this is a fix I would listen to. If they're saying at low idle you are not getting enough lubrication up top, then you absolutely should only idle at high idle.
Well, and we did have it upgraded, but because they outright told us that we'd be liable for any progressive damage that results in failure to complete the campaign.
Yeah.
So
now the other option is,
said,
do you want to look at other possibilities for idling?
Well, do I want to put on an APU or? I'm not a big fan of that just because it's another engine and the drivers don't like listening to it.
I'm the same way. I'm not a big fan of diesel-powered APUs. I am really, really starting to lean towards electrical solutions to this. We're not quite there yet. It's not as good as I wish it was, and there aren't a lot of good turnkey solutions. So we're kind of MacGyvering things right now and hacking things together. And I think that's the future, though. And it's just a matter of, when do you want to jump in and start playing around with that stuff?
Sure. Well, hopefully I get to run into you at Matt's. Actually, I'm going to be joining your friend Mike or Kevin Bickett. We actually bought an MD alignment equipment, and we're doing mobile alignments in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And luckily, they said, come on down so we can bring my tech down there and hopefully learn some more from these guys, because it's been great. So.
Well, fantastic. That's awesome. Let's get you a little bit of airtime. Come on, brag. Give everybody, how do they find you? Get the word out.
Got it. Yep. Yep. So.
Well, tell them.
I'd be happy to. And
yeah.
Tell them. Okay. Well, it's S&B Transportation. We're out of S&B Transportation. We're out of Brandon, South Dakota, but we service a 50-mile radius, and we do this as Mike does it. We come to you. Eventually I'll have some more room in the shop if you had to come, but right now we're doing everything mobile. Got a great technician that's studied really hard, and actually I think he's one of Mike's success stories, because that kid read every book, watched every video before we went in for training, and we've had nothing but compliments on people that have taken it to another alignment shop. Nothing's ever right. And one guy said, first time ever, a truck was driving straight as an arrow. So awesome. We're excited to bring this technology and do exactly what Mike said. We're guaranteeing our work, which nobody else does. So you can give us a call. You can look us up on Facebook, Google, or my direct number is 605-582-3900.
Okay, now say that phone number one more time slowly, because right now everybody's reaching for something to write with, and now they forgot. So do it again. Sure.
It's S&B Transportation, and our phone number is 605-582-3900.
Fantastic. Congratulations, and thanks.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you at Matt's, Kevin.
Fantastic. We will see you there. It sounds to me like, or it looks to me like now I'm going to spend quite a bit of time at the Pittsburgh Power booth. So that will be the easiest place to find me. I probably will wander off once in a while to go out and spend some time with some of our other partner companies as well. But the Pittsburgh Power booth is always an awesome place to kind of hang out. All right, so no, that's a terminated call. I'm still trying to learn the board here. I think I've gone through all the calls. I've got a couple things I could wrap this up with, but I could also take a call or two if you want to jump in and join us right now. That number is 855-950-3835. We'll leave that line open for another couple minutes, and if you want to jump in, question, a comment, a topic, anything at all, you can join us. So again, kind of thinking out loud. We have a lot of decisions to make going forward. The team has been swamped in a good way trying to get all this out. And I have to thank the team. They've done an amazing job in the background of getting technology switched over. You know, I've said that we kind of had Plan B already in the works. We had about 75% of it. And the reason we didn't have a turnkey solution just ready to go is we actually started building Plan B, it was almost 8 years ago. And technology around this kind of stuff changes fast. So you have to be careful of getting locked into something and finding out there was a better solution. We fight with this every time we roll something new out. So it made more sense to leave a lot of the infrastructure in place, but not try to say, here it is, turnkey, ready to go. And it's a good thing we didn't, because we wouldn't have the solutions we're getting built right now. So it will take us a little while, but I'm excited about it. We have a lot of potential, a lot of possibilities. We will probably throw a lot of things at the wall and see what sticks and what you like and what you don't like. So we are absolutely looking for feedback, lots of feedback. We will listen to it, understand that just because we get the feedback doesn't mean we can always do what everybody requested, but we're asking for feedback now because we have a lot more flexibility now. We control about 90% of our technology when we're done with this. We will have to depend on a couple of platforms, but we're being very careful to pick open source independent platforms. And then, of course, we will distribute out to traditional platforms. We'll probably go back to using Facebook a lot for ads and maybe posting some things, shows, and that kind of stuff. We will continue to distribute out to platforms like Apple and Spreaker and Spotify and wherever. I mean, we'll work on that. But ultimately, we will also maintain control of as much of our technology as possible so that we would really like to cancel-proof the show. We've been through enough censorship over the last several years, starting, 4 years ago with our health information on Google being censored, and then Facebook and the other platforms jumping in and censoring. We want to make sure that the platforms we are depending on, like I say, we will distribute out to those because you still can pick up a lot of new listeners, which has to be our number one goal right now. We are going to focus on the tribe. You are always our number one priority, but new listeners help us fund a lot of big projects, and we have a lot of big projects in mind. So we will continue to be on those traditional platforms. We won't depend on those traditional platforms. We're going to build as much of this technology out as we can. All right, so let's grab another call. I'm going to go to Virginia this time. Kenny, welcome to the program.
Hey, Kevin. Good morning. Your Lisa was checking on my NutriQ. Did she get the NutriQ pulled up?
She hasn't sent it over to me yet. I just got a message. She's working on it for me. I was going to go look for it myself, but I can talk to you while she goes. It's nice to have a call screener I can work with again. Yeah, go ahead and let's get started on the call, and she'll get that to me.
All right. Well, I've been I did the AIP diet way back first of last year, and prior to that, my digestion was working really good. But after I started the AIP diet, I just got constipated, and I called and checked with you a couple times, and you said it would work itself out. And I have just struggled off and on ever since. I just can't get things to work through like they should, and just curious what in the world I need to do. I tried to up my fat level. I've actually started taking extra magnesium. I looked on the internet, and it said magnesium oxide is really good, so I'm doing that some, and it helps, but I don't want to have to take pills the rest of my life just to get my digestion to work better.
No, and we don't want you to. And it's not necessary. The one thing we found about digestion, if we work hard enough at it, we can improve it, and it sticks if we do it right. I'm looking at the NutriQ. Lisa got it for me, and this is just recently. Have you ever done a NutriQ before, or is this your first one?
No, I did several.
Let me see if Lisa can give me the comparison then. I'd like to take a look at what's changed over time. Based on what I'm seeing here now, It looks like your upper GI is in pretty good shape. You're obviously not experiencing anything like heartburn or indigestion or that kind of stuff, right?
That's right.
But it does look like we're seeing some issues around liver, gallbladder, a little more in small intestine, and then a little more than that in large intestine. Are you eating any fermented foods?
Yeah, I eat sauerkraut almost every day.
Is it real fermented sauerkraut?
Yeah, it's what I make at home.
Got it. Okay. I'm not.
And I tried doing some pickles. I think I fermented them too long. I did them about 2 weeks, and they're a little bit on the soft side. So I want to do some others.
Yeah,
and,
let me give you. Go ahead.
I did put a bay leaf in there, and that helped some. But I didn't realize. I heard one of the other callers call in and say that he done pickles too, but you had said maybe 4 or 5 days, and so I want to do some that's not nearly as long. Hopefully they'll turn out better.
Yeah, the bay leaf, or there's a product called Pickle Crisp you can put in that helps a lot. It's a little more of a chemical kind of thing, nothing major. That can work. And I do go for a shorter fermentation time because no matter what you put in there, if you ferment them too long, they get soft. I actually like to stop the fermentation when they're actually too crisp and then put them in the refrigerator because they'll continue to soften up over time. So less fermentation, then throw them in the refrigerator, and I think you'll like that crunch more because I don't like my pickles when they start to go soft. I have some that I fermented from last year's garden still, and they're still pretty decent. But I fermented one of those batches for only about 36 hours and then put it in the refrigerator. So I had multiple jars. One was pretty close to the way I wanted it right now. One was, not as fermented as much. And then I had one big jar that I barely fermented, put it in the refrigerator, and over all this time, those are just about perfect now.
Okay.
Okay, Lisa got me the comparison. Ooh, okay. So I'm going to need to dig deeper into your NutriQ because your original NutriQ on large intestine, it was a high priority, and it's come way, way down. Small intestine actually got a little worse, and liver, gallbladder actually got worse. And liver, gallbladder is probably where we're going to need to focus here. You know what I would recommend? I would recommend doing a discovery call because I think we're just going to need more time to dig a little deeper into each individual thing, what was really going wrong in the large intestine, what improved so much. So we can really kind of target in and just say, look, here's the problem, here's what we need to do to fix it. Instead of on the air here when I don't have a lot of time or a lot of details, I tend to take the shotgun approach, which we tried that once already, and it didn't really work. So I think we're just going to dig deeper here.
Yeah, they said I was trying to find out how to get logged into the dashboard, and someone said I should do a discovery call, and I thought, well, first I'd like to see what your thoughts are, and then I'll proceed there if that's necessary. So I will schedule a discovery call and go from there.
Yeah, like I said, you called once. I tried the shotgun approach, and we didn't really get any results. So I think we're going to have to dig deeper.
Okay. Very well. Thanks a lot, Kevin. Appreciate everything you do.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. All right. Let's grab another one. Let's go to Zanesville, Ohio. John, I should be heading through that area here in the next couple of days. What's on your mind today? Oh, hold on. Maybe I didn't get him on there. There we go.
Kevin?
There we go. John, go ahead.
Sure glad to hear you back on the radio.
Well, thank you.
I just wanted to thank you for everything you've done for me and my brother. I've lost 75 pounds. My brother has lost 100.
Wow.
And he's diabetic, but he's really pretty much got it under control.
Awesome. Congratulations to both of you.
Yeah, it really works,
It does. Yep.
So, on your motorhome, what brand is it?
It is a Country Coach.
Country Coach. Okay. If I'm looking at buying another one, a diesel. I've got a gas now.
Okay.
Is there any certain motor that we ought to look for in those?
Yeah. What size are you looking at? So you really don't.
About a 40-footer.
Okay, so in a lot of the 40-footers, you're probably going to come across a lot of the smaller displacement engines. Usually we don't go to the, 13 and 15 liters till you get up to the 45-foot tandems. I've got a C13 in this one. I'm not nearly as familiar. You're going to see a lot of like ISX Cummins, ISM, and some of the smaller Cummins is going to be the most common engine you're going to run across. And I'm just not as familiar with those.
Okay. I was just wondering, I've got two brothers, both of them's over-the-road truck drivers. I drove for 7 years, and, back in the day, everything was Cummins, and I was wondering, you talk about issues with some of the newer Cummins motors. I didn't know whether there's issues in these motorhomes.
Yeah, there is, but again, I was talking more about the ISX, the 15-liter ISX. For example, on a Country Coach, the C13 Cat is like the lowest priced option. Then they go to the ISX Cummins, which is an upgrade. Then they go to the Signature 600 ISX Cummins, which is another upgrade. And they were shocked at Country Coach when I walked in and said, "Don't show me anything with the Cummins." And they're like, well, no, that's our upgrade. And I'm like, I don't care what you call it. I take calls every day, and I hear nothing but problems with that engine.
Right.
I said, I'd rather have the ACERT technology. I'd rather have the Cat. And they were shocked because everybody wants the Cummins. But here's another funny story. So we're looking at our, this coach, the one we were getting ready to buy. We hadn't quite made up our mind yet. And he said, can I just show you one coach? He said, after hearing what you want, what you're going to do with it, he says, I think you're just going to love this coach. And it was a newer, and it was kind of like their premier coach they had in at the time. And we went and looked at it, and it had the Signature 600. And they wanted quite a bit more for this coach. And I said, you know what? I don't think I can do it. I said, I just don't want to take that much risk on this engine when I see all kinds of problems. And, the sales guy kept, and I was actually working with the owner of the place, and he said, oh, well, let me show you this, and let me show you that. When he finally realized he was never going to sell me on that Cummins, you know what he told me? That coach had 22,000 miles on it. They had already replaced the entire engine.
Oh, my God. That's a real pain.
I can't even imagine the cost of putting a new Signature 600 into a coach. The work is incredible. That engine is outrageously expensive. And I said, look, that's exactly why I don't want one. And he said, oh, okay, I get it.
So yours has got a Cat in it.
Mine's got a C13 Cat, yeah.
Okay. So what chassis do you like?
Well, I am a big fan of the Country Coach. I really love everything about this. They build their own chassis, and I really like the design. I like everything about these. Now, here's where they kind of fall. If you're looking at, big 45-foot tandems, you've got the super premium, almost always built on like a Prevost chassis. You got Marathon and some others. Those are you can't even touch those things used anymore for $1 million. It's just insane.
Yeah.
The cost of those.
Yes.
Actually, Country Coach did build a couple of their models. They're super premium on a Prevost chassis. I've looked
Wow.
at if I can find a good deal on one used, I thought about upgrading, but honestly, the more I looked at them, the more I didn't like them. They end up putting the generator in the side instead of in the front, and it wipes out a bunch of your side storage. Where my generator, I have a button I press, and the whole front end of the coach slides out, and the generator's right there. So
it's not running back there by your bedroom.
You can't even hear it when at night if you sleep. I've been on the road this time. I've been using the generator a lot because I haven't been staying in RV parks, and I don't even hear it back there. So that's really nice. And it doesn't wipe out space in my side boxes because I need all that storage. So I the more I looked at it, the more I thought, no, I'll just stick with the one I have. Country Coach is what we would call second tier. And there aren't many second tier coach builders. So you can get a lot of the higher end features, and honestly, Country Coach was probably 40 or 50% less expensive than, something built on a Prevost. The problem with Country Coach is they built their last coach in 2010. So all you can find are used, which is fine for me because I can't imagine ever buying one of these things new. They lose so much ridiculous amounts of value. So
I want something kind of pre-def.
If I were to go back to about a 40, I think we had a 42-foot Discovery that I really liked. And you had some fairly decent, I ended up with an ISM, I think it was an ISM Cummins in that one. I think, what was that, the 7.3 liter, I think. It was underpowered. They make up for it with gearing, and it wasn't bad. And we're talking a totally different price range when you go back to that. Much, much more affordable. You can find something that's been taken well care of, is pre-emission. But I would look at Discovery. Who makes that? Why can't I think of who makes
it's probably Fleetwood, isn't it?
That is a Fleetwood, yep. That's exactly
Fleetwood,
right.
Yeah. I've been kind of looking at the Newmar. I got a buddy that's got a 45-foot Newmar, and he loves that thing.
Yeah, that's a nice chassis. I've talked to a lot of people with Newmars that like them.
So, well, you're going to be coming through Zanesville?
Yeah, heading that way. I'm going to end up splitting off of the convoy in the next couple of days. For a couple reasons. I think when they get to D.C., I'm a little worried about what might happen. If this thing keeps growing, and the media is totally ignoring it. I'm sure some of it is because of Russia, Ukraine. I get that. But it's almost like the media is going out of their way to make it sound like it's not successful. Like, I do find a couple of reports, but they're almost always, well, this group fizzled out, or here's a video and we only saw 7 trucks. And so it's not like they're just ignoring it. They're almost like going out of their way to discount it. And I keep seeing more and more groups popping up, and I'm just wondering if we could end up with a really big shock here in the next week, that all of a sudden there's an awful lot of people and trucks and convoys in D.C., and at the moment, as much as I'd love to be there right in the middle of it, that would not be a good idea for me. If I get stuck in something like that, or
I don't think so.
I could end up in jail and nobody would know where I was. And right now, that wouldn't be good for us. When we were nice and stable, if that happened, I probably wouldn't have sweated it too much. But right now, not a good time. So I'm going to split off. I'm going to head to Northeast Ohio, where my family is, and see them for a little bit. And then I'm going to head over to Pittsburgh Power. And I might as well make this announcement now. I talked to Bruce about it this morning. I will probably spend quite a bit of time parked at Pittsburgh Power between now and the time I head to Louisville.
You know, I don't drive anymore, but I really enjoy on Tuesdays and yesterday when you had Bruce on there. That man is he's great.
Yeah,
he knows everything.
And
then
I
when
can
our
tell
buddy
you.
got on there,
Oh, yeah.
when our buddy got on there and tried to mess with him. He's messing with the wrong guy.
Yeah. Bruce is not nearly as tolerant of that kind of stuff as I am. And, you know, Bruce, obviously a wealth of knowledge, but Pete is just amazing with so many things. And now Ethan and their engineering department, it's why it's such an important partnership for us. So I'm going to go hang out at their place for a while.
Well, that's what I thought. If I get a diesel motorhome, I'm going to call him up and see if there's anything he can do to it to try to get some more, autonomy.
A lot of people don't realize how knowledgeable Bruce is on RV platforms. But first of all, he understands the engines, obviously. But there was a time where, if you've heard us talk about Bruce's truck, his T600, I borrowed it for a while, pulled our trailer. He built that to pull an RV. He had a lift on the back of it for a Harley and a little Harley garage. It was really cool. And he pulled a long fifth wheel and then a trailer behind the fifth wheel. And I forget, he was like 86 feet long. And he traveled around to a lot of RV shows and did RV seminars and repairs and a lot of that stuff. So he's really familiar with that whole industry.
Yeah, that's cool. I actually bought the additive. I run my Kubota tractor, and I've got a couple old cars that I put it in, and this stuff's amazing.
It took me a long time to really be able to do a good test on it, but I'm pretty impressed. It really seems to be cleaning up some things on the C13.
Yep. So, well, Kevin, good talking to you. Have a safe trip, and we sure enjoy listening to you. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll remember to honk and wave as I come through Zanesville. Like I say, I think I'll be coming through that area here in the next couple of days. And none of my travel is set in stone right now. I'm really kind of playing it by ear. And my thought on the convoy is if something does happen in D.C. and it's good and it's positive, and if I'm in Pittsburgh, I'm 4 or 5 hours in D.C.? It's not far. So I think that's the plan now. I'm going to hang out with my family a little bit, hang out at Pittsburgh Power. I have a lot of work to do. That's the other challenge for me right now, traveling with the convoy. Every day I travel with them, I'm wiped out. By the time I get up in the morning, get ready and go, traveling with the convoy is rough. You're going slow, you're going fast. It's a lot of adrenaline. I really enjoy it, but I just can't afford the time right now. I got to get too much done. So, speaking of which, I am going to wrap this up, and we will see you back here again tomorrow. So again, this is the unofficial soft launch of Trucking Business and Beyond. It is going to be a weekday show now. We will launch as often as possible. If we're a little late now and then, bear with us for a while. But the plan is to just make this a live everyday show, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern, scheduled for an hour, but we're very, very flexible. We'll play it by ear every day and see how things go. And just know that everything we're doing is going to get even better. If you're happy with this, that's awesome. We have lots of big plans to make this easier for everybody, better for everybody, give you lots of flexibility. You'll be able to subscribe to the shows you want, ignore the shows you don't, and you'll be able to listen any time where you're. Now, that may be a subscription to be able to do that, but we want to make sure you have access to every show forever. They won't expire. Go back and listen whenever you want. All right, with that, I'm going to wrap this up. I've got a lot to get done today. I need to get back out on the road, and I need to work on a lot of this technology. I'm excited. I will tell you that I'm not sleeping very much. I'm not sleeping very well. I think too much adrenaline. My mind's going 100 miles an hour. So I'm just going to have to buckle down and get through it. But we're excited. We will talk to you again tomorrow. John and Joel will be joining me for our new show Let me make sure I get that name right. Trucking Technology and Efficiency. I love it. We'll give you some ideas on where we're heading with some of that as well. So we will see you then. Come on over, and I'm preaching to the choir here. You're already all members. Come on over to truckingtribeandhealthytribe.com and post. Let's get some activity going in there. Let's get some conversation going. Both sites have been growing like crazy, but I think a lot of the new members are kind of holding back. So if you see a new member, welcome them in. Let's get some good conversation going over on both of those two sites. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. I know I've slacked off a little bit on answering questions in there. Bear with me. I'll get back to that. And also, I would love to be able to answer everybody's private message individually, and I'm trying, but if I don't get back to you, let me say right now, I appreciate every comment, every message where you've reached out to me. It really means a lot to me and the team. Be safe, be profitable, be fit and healthy. Always do the hard work and master the journey.